I mean, just one chord will help someone think about something or heal somebody. Just the first 8 bars of a song or something, like when I first hear something or I'm reading, or when I'm writing to something, you know, creating something. I mean, just even a simple snare with some personality, or just it completely allows people, and it gives them just a gateway to just go wherever they want, you know, and it's very healing, or very destructive, or it's art, it's anything.
Hey everyone, I'm Amanda Zantal-Wiener, and this is Growth Raps, where we talk to rappers about growth, musically, professionally, spiritually. I am here today with Prof, who is here on the East Coast for his Pookie Baby tour.
Ow.
Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. What's up? How's tour going?
Good.
Yeah?
It's going really good. It's hard, but it's like really good. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. No, usually something really bad happens every tour, and hasn't happened yet. It's been pretty smooth. We're in the first half of the tour. Shows are good. I'm in Boston.
You don't come to the East Coast too often, though, so we're really happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here, man.
What made you decide to come to the East Coast this time around?
Because I have to. Like, I mean, I don't want to.
It's like cleaning your room.
No. It's not like a chore or anything. It's like I just got to get out there. You know what I mean? Like I opened up for a lot of people throughout my career, and most of them were better in the West, and so naturally I became better and bigger in the West, in the Midwest, and you know, my fan base hasn't been as big out on the East Coast, and that's changing now, which is cool. So I can't wait to connect with everybody and come back again and again and again, because I'm not scared of it anymore, because there's people there and we party.
The latest album, it's very interesting, and it was a long time coming, it felt like, because Liability was 2015. Mm-hmm. Well, what the hell took you so long, man?
I don't know. Like, people on Rhymesayers, they just kind of like, it's just art, and they just release it when it's ready and stuff. Like, so if you would look at like Strange, the label out of Kansas City with like Tech 9 in them, boom, they have due dates and stuff. Like every year on the year, they're like, okay, now I got 2 months to write the record and everything. And there's not really any rules like that on Rhymesayers. And there's a lot of people working together. And with me, you know, I brought my own kind of company along with, and people are meeting each other and exchanging emails and stuff. And so we're just getting faster and faster. And I'm already working on my next record. And when I get home, I want to finish it as fast as possible. So, you know, music videos take a long time. Like we would like to put out quality over quantity, because we have a reputation right now. Like I can't just put out any music video compared to the last ones I've put out, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh shit, we gotta make a music video for this song, and it's gotta be the best we've ever done. Mm. You know what I mean? That's like high expectations to the quality that's been out there already for me.
Would you prefer the bar being higher, though, at this point, at where it is now?
No. I wish the bar was low.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up the videos, because you had posted a picture on Instagram, and I definitely want to ask you about your social media content. You have a very interesting content mix on Instagram specifically, but you had posted a picture of what looked like a really emotional point in one of your live performances. And Pookie Baby and the video for Eulogy, I feel like it kind of reached a point that your previous albums hadn't. So, you know, given that there was that much time in between, tell me a little bit about that process and how you got to that point.
I think I've always been able to get to that point, but it's just been kind of like a secret at my live shows. Because I've had songs kind of like that, like Myself, some really emotional songs. Myself is a song I wrote a long time ago that I started performing and stuff. And like I really get into whatever song I'm rapping at that moment. So if it's a party track, like I'm been going crazy, like I'm jumping out in the crowd, or, you know, I mean, I've had surgeries jumping in the crowds and stuff like that. But then when I'm at my low points, like I'll relive those moments again. And getting ready for a show for me is like a really tough thing to do, like emotionally, to take these journeys in and out like that, because I'll go everywhere. So in you know, an hour and a half, it's like a draining experience, you know. But I think people saw that, and my team saw that, and I'm just a little bit more available and grown enough to like pinpoint that and say, hey, let's profit off of my losses. my personal losses and let's make a music video off of it.
Isn't that art, though?
You know, yeah. I mean, yeah, just being vulnerable like that. So, you know, you saw that a little bit off Pookie Baby.
I want to ask you a little bit about your lyrics, because you were talking about, you know, these different mindsets that you get into that inform some of the lyrics and things like that. So again, talking about your social media, just observing that and talking to you today, there are two things that strike me about you. You're not ignorant, and you seem to make an effort to stay aware of what is going on. For example, climate change is one of those things that you seem to be very vocal about. So
I just want to live, you know what I'm saying? It
Don't
would be
we
cool
all?
if the world wasn't, you know, completely a rocket ball in 150 years.
or 22.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I have things I'd like to do in the next 22 years. So then, given that sort of context, I really want to ask you some of the lyrics that you have about women. Why?
I guess, you know, I'm just, I come from a dirty place, and I still say dirty, rotten things. And I say rotten things about men too. Like I've got lines about chopping people up and throwing them in my backyard, and sometimes I objectify women and in like sexually, you know. And I think that's just a hard thing to just dance around and skirt around. And sometimes when it's like party and people get drunk where I'm from and in my hood, like I grew up my whole life with people being like, yo, let's call up some bitches. That still happens with all my friends and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like they're like objects, breasts, butts. You know what I mean? Like that's, so I'm trying to be as politically correct as possible and stuff like that. But also sometimes every once in a while it just feels good to be like, suck my fucking dick to anybody. You know what I mean? Like, cause that's kind of my knife that got me through the hood, growing up as the only white dude on my block, or growing up in Section 8 with a single mother, and you know what I mean, like that. Like, so walking through the neighborhoods, I had to be extremely verbally sharp as fuck and disgusting, ready to cut someone so I could make it to the next block through and without being jumped. And so like that's just extremely in my DNA. So like I'm very well aware, and I'm a feminist. My mother is a feminist. My whole family is, you know, feminists, and that shouldn't be a weird thing to say. Like everybody should just be able to say that without, you know, like, oh my God, Prof says he's a feminist. Well, you know what I mean? What is that? Just you think everybody should have just God-given equal rights and shit? Like it shouldn't be a crazy weird thing to think about. But I guess that's just my knife. It was my weapon, just being nasty, and that comes out every once in a while.
I was going to ask you if you would identify as a feminist, so I'm really glad that you said that. And you also said something that is a word that is a dirty word to a lot of people, which is politically correct. And so for some of the folks who are watching, they might not be familiar with the whole idea of an indie rapper and things like that. But sometimes I hold the belief that because you are independent, you are less beholden to things like political correctness and things like that. Is that true?
Yeah, it is. But, you know, I think that everything is shifting all the time. You know what I mean? Like, and bad words are shifting. And, you know, like, I don't, yeah. I don't like to say bitches as much as I like. There's things that I've written in the past that I wouldn't write anymore. You know, like I've always, let's get retarded. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I don't know about fucking that word anymore. You know what I mean? It's constantly moving. But at the same time, I don't like people who are so elitist that just will destroy a joke. You know what I mean? Because I think comedians are like the canary in the coal mine. And as long as it's well thought out and you get a group of comedians laughing about awful things in the same room together, like that's extremely smart. And they probably have very good values for their brothers and sisters, but they're over here, you know, joking about it. And I think that's brilliant. And I don't want to lose too much of that to be so uptight about everything where, you know, people don't have permission to smile or laugh at things that make sense and that are smart.
So it's growth, and it's your growth, it sounds like, is being informed by the world we live in.
Absolutely.
Is that the case, though, even in the best of times, you think, that maybe that informs your growth and the work that you put out there as well?
I've always thought that, you know. Like, I don't like to give things too much power. Like, people come up to my shows after, at a meet and greet, and they be like, I'm so depressed, I lost my child, and I haven't talked about it. And I'm like, well, here we are. There's a whole merch line behind a line of people. Let's talk about it. Like, let's not give anything that much power. You know, like I've always the worst things that ever happened in my life. I put it just right out there. I slap it on the wall. And sometimes, yeah, my dad's dead. People are like, what? You know, or like horrible things. You know, my house burning down, arson, stuff like that. Like, I won't give it any power. I'll just throw it. I'll make it ugly or pretty or funny, however I please. You know what I mean? And so. But that's just my personal opinion. Like, I don't know shit. Some people don't think that way, and that could offend other people. So it's confusing as hell, and I don't know shit.
I think you do. This has been very compelling so far. But, you know, sometimes I think that I'll phrase this as a question. Do you think that sometimes when these things that are difficult to confront, even as an observer and a bystander, when they're expressed through music, where you can just kind of stand on the sidelines and watch, or you can spectate, do you think it's easier for people to confront that way? And do you think that's...
Absolutely. I mean, just one chord will help someone think about something or heal somebody. Just the first 8 bars of a song or something, like when I first hear something, or I'm reading, when I'm writing to something, you know, creating something. I mean, just even a simple snare with some personality, or just it completely allows people, and it gives them just a gateway to just go wherever they want, you know, and it's very healing, or very destructive, or it's art, it's anything.
What are some of the stories that you've heard about how your work has helped people?
Oh man, every single day someone's like, tells me something about either a deep depression or a loss of a loved one or something like that. And what's, I guess not funny, but what's great to me is a lot of people are saying, you got me sober. Like, and a lot of my music's party. That's the majority of the changes that come through, being just, you got me sober. I'm like, wow, congratulations, high five, you know?
Wow.
It's just, they were like that energy, and that just towards what you want in life and getting things, I guess. And my focus in some songs about, you know, either getting a girl to love, you know, trying to fall in love as hard as I can, or, I don't know, be successful. They just find that drive, and they're like, well, I gotta quit drinking, I gotta quit smoking, or something like that. So, I mean, that's what makes it for me. That's the most rewarding thing about making music, is hearing those stories.
Wow. You know, I want to kind of shift back a little bit to something we were talking about earlier, about how remaining and continuing to put out work that remains core to who you are, but also is respectful and observant of what is happening around you. We deal a lot with the idea of aligning brand values and things like that, and, you know, aligning your content with your brand and the product and things like that. So what, if you have any, is some advice that you would give to somebody who maybe can't quite align those things, where what they believe in doesn't necessarily align with the brand that they represent?
Man, that's a tough question. I don't really give that much thought. I would say don't be concerned so much with that. I think that's starting to get into like overthinking a little bit. Who knows what anybody's brand is, or what my brand's going to be like tomorrow, or when I wake up. It's like, you know, and, you know, you said, you know, the word respectful. Like, who says you have to be respectful? Like, and who do you have to respect? Like, sometimes I feel like I don't need to be respectful. Sometimes I really don't feel like some people should be respected. And what my brand is, it's like, I don't know. So I guess I don't give that too much thought. I just do what I love, and how I write, that's how I'm feeling at the time.
Do you ever overthink?
Let me think about that for a minute. No.
No.
Yes, I overthink, especially when I'm trying to fucking fall asleep.
That's always how it happens.
Yeah.
Do you have a meditation app that you use?
No, but I wake up and I drink a lot of water, and I give 5 things I'm thankful for. That's what I do.
That's awesome. Do you think everybody should do that?
Yes, absolutely. I think Mike was telling me that's what like Navy SEALs, they do that. Like, it's just like it's not really, you don't have to be too religious or this way or that way, but like it's like proven that's like chug a big old glass of water. You got to be thankful for that, because a lot of people can't just wake up and drink clean water that's just sitting there. Boom, 5 things you're thankful for that'll change your whole fucking mind chemistry for the day, and you'll be on your way.
I want to go back to Poogie Baby for a minute.
So do I.
Yeah, okay, all right. So we'll shift gears. As I was saying earlier, the album's different. It's personally, I think it's one of the best albums you've put out so far. And what I have found you leaning into a little bit is your vocal talent, your singing talent. So I have a couple of questions about that. The first one being, how did that happen? Is it just what you were feeling, or was this a conscious decision you made to lean into your singing talent more for this album?
I don't know. I'm not trying to get better at, well, I guess I'm trying to get better at singing, but what's driving it is just purely just I'm trying to convey. It's the music that's driving it. So if I'm in there and I'm doing melodies and I just go, that sounds good, but what if I'm like, up an octave, or harmonize that a little bit harder, or man, this would really sound better if I scream this, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not over here taking vocal lessons and, trying to become a better singer. Like, I want to make music, so I must become a better singer.
Where did you learn how to sing?
I don't know. I don't think you need to have a place to learn how to sing. You just try it and keep going. I mean, when I was little, my mom used to, I used to go to sleep. She would to classical music, like classical radio. And so I had just a lot of weird dreams when I was a kid with that. And those were like my first memories. And then she would sing me to sleep. And then I would realize, I was like, ooh, that note was off. Like, when I was like, 5 or 6, I was like figuring out that my mom couldn't sing. I think that meant that maybe I knew what I was talking about.
At 5 or 6?
Yeah.
All right. It's very self-aware as a 5 or 6-year-old.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think you'd be surprised. I think a lot of 5 and 6-year-olds could tell who's a good singer and who's a bad one. It's pretty easy.
They're not afraid to tell you either. Mm-hmm. If you could sound like any vocalist in the world, who would it be?
Bob Dylan.
Really?
No. No, Celine Dion.
Will your heart go on?
Celine Dion.
She's got her Vegas residency.
Go on. It's got to be the one.
So beautiful. No, I'm gonna cry. Maybe you should do a Vegas residency.
I'd be down if I was famous and I was making $1 million a day. Sure.
Do you go through there a lot?
No. Well, yeah, probably once a year. Maybe once every 2 years.
All right. What has growth looked like over the course of your career, and how is it different from what growth looks like to you now?
Growth looks like a turtle, a big tortoise. No, a small turtle growing into a big tortoise, slowly eating lettuce, and then stopping to sleep, and waking up going like this, and slowly eating more lettuce.
Is that what you do when you're not on tour?
Eat lettuce?
You were saying you try to eat healthy when you're not on the road, so.
Yeah, I do. I eat a little bit more veggies than lettuce, but yeah, growth is a tortoise, teenage tortoise, from this big to this big. But we're getting there.
Getting there. All right, so what else do you want people to know, either about you, about Prof, about your music, that not a lot of people know or ask you about?
Man, you've done a pretty good job so far. Just personally, just want to make everybody aware of like my hand strength is just pretty extraordinary.
We could thumb wrestle later and.
Well, that involves dexterity. My dexterity is not there.
Okay.
But just pure strength.
All right.
Hand strength is just outrageous.
Do we have an aluminum can anywhere that?
Easy.
Can we get that?
I don't really care I don't know. I don't really care anymore what people want to know or what I want them to know about me, or maybe like 10 years ago. But
that's growth, if you ask me. It's getting to a point where you don't care anymore.
But that's so sad. That's kind of sad, but yeah, sure, growth.
Is it sad, or is it just that you've become you've grown into a point where you are happy with the work you're doing, but not too happy because the bar is so high and you want to keep raising it.
It's a fine line. Like I just don't feel like showing off anymore. Like, what do you want to tell people? Like, oh well, what do I want to tell them? But like, my music is like this, or like, it's like, that sounds conceited to me, which is weird because in person, I don't like if people are banging my music in a club or something. I'm just like, I'm not that guy that wants all that attention, which is really weird. But I get on stage and it's like, very commanding, and but I'm not like, I really don't like to brag too much like in person because I think I'm kind of over that,
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because one thing that I've observed in talking to you is that on stage and in your music and on social media, you've got this really larger than life kind of presence. And then I've watched other interviews with you before, and it's almost like you're a little soft spoken.
I'm a little sweetheart.
And you're a little modest.
Yeah. I told my mom to quit following me on Twitter because I was like, that's a dumb idea. And so I was like, because that's just different. I mean, I think is for jokes and funny things, crazy things that pop up in my head that are just kind of disturbing and shit, like fucking in porta potties or just shit like that, And I was like, Mom, if you want to know something, just call me up. Like, don't follow my Twitter for news. That's entertainment,
Does she text you when she doesn't like something that you say on Twitter?
Yeah, I forget what the last thing was. I wished her a happy Father's Day. And she didn't like that because I have a stepdad that I don't consider my father. So she told me to take that down.
You heard all about
She'll probably watch this interview because it's well done, and she'll probably get to this point and call me up.
Good
I'll
job.
answer, Mom.
Good job. What does your mom call you?
Handsome.
Oh.
No, she calls me Jacob.
Maybe Jacob when you tweet things she doesn't like and Jake the rest of the time.
Mm-hmm.
What do your friends call you?
Prof, Pookie.
Is that how did you get the name for Pookie Baby?
I started calling everybody else Pookie. And then I was like, hey, Pookie. Oh, my dog, Pilot. Oh, my little Pookie baby. And I'm just petting him under the chin like, oh, baby. And then I just started, hey, can you grab that from me, Pookie? Like, as like a term of endearment. And then I just started calling everybody else that. And then they just kind of like turned the mirrors back on me. Okay, Pookie. And then, and then it was me.
I love it when you post pilot content on Instagram. I'll just let you know right now. More pilot content, please.
Well, when I get back, you're going to get some.
All right, perfect. All right, cool. So you're going to jump on stage and sing a little song for us off of Pookie Baby. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this track?
This track is a kind of a mellow, more of a blues track, introspective, search for forgiveness.
Right on.
How I feel after a night of debauchery.
Well, we
or
look
maybe
forward.
hurting some people's feelings.
That's deep. That's real. Well, we look forward to seeing it. Thanks for hanging out and answering some of my questions.
That was great.
That was fun.
Struggle with the big wild dog on a leash, and I'm both. Yeah, and I'm both. Look, I'm sorry for the things I do, especially when it is to you. Sometimes I don't know what to do, but last night I was a criminal. Loose cannon, burning bridges looking for a miracle. Yeah. Last night she was a criminal. A predator. She looked just like she came here from a funeral. Yeah. Ooh, she's my little book of matches. We play a game of who can burn fastest. I see whiskey in her eyes. Things go bump in the night, down and out, floating around the Milky Way. No clue if we're predators or if we're prey. No telling what weapons will be on display. Everybody searching for the words to say. Criminal, ha 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 ha. Loose cannon, burning bridges looking for a miracle. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. Last night she was a criminal. Ha ha ha. A predator. She looked just like she came here from a funeral. Ha ha ha. Yeah. Last night I was a criminal.